Today's the day I'm going to try and get all of my coping stones laid onto the pond. Here we go again. All I've been doing is making a hell of a mess here. It's about having a go yourself. This makes a hell of a mess. Hell of a mess, this stuff. So I've been down to my local B&Q store, grinder and the tile cutter. I picked up a couple of new blades. They're like a slate sort of coping stone. The rough effect, which I want to see. Lovely. Cup of tea time again. Give it a go and see what happens. And the reason why I want it black, so if I get any overspill all the way around, pull that out, check that I've got any leaks and just fill in that gap. I said at the start of this video, I've never done it before. Boosh, check that out. I am the boss. You're the boss really, ain't you, sweetheart? These magic fingers, it's dark now, but watch this. Boom, there we got daylight. Right then, James Koi Whisperer, we're back for another video. So today's the day I'm going to try and get all of my coping stones laid onto the pond. I'm going to spin the camera around, show you what I've got, show you what my idea is. I'm not an expert, I don't really know what I'm doing here. I'm just having a good go at it. But let's have a look, see what I got, and then we'll go from there. Right then, so I've been down to my local B&Q store. Got some coping stones to go on top of the pond. They're like a slate sort of coping stone with a slate effect to them. See, at the moment they're still dry. I'm gonna wet all of these up. They'll look absolutely banging. Well, I hope they do when they're finished. I've also got some black liquid. Basically, you add this to your cement by what I've been told. And then through my joints, I'll have a nice black joint through the joints. I'm gonna be laying them down with a 3-to-1 mix with sand and cement. My cement's just inside of there. Keeping it dry just in case I don't get to it. But to start with, what I'm going to do, I've just had a little practice because I don't know how this stuff cuts. And I had a bit of a disaster on the first one, learning as we go. So I've got myself my grinder out. I've also got my tile cutter out. What I've done, I've just nipped down to the local store. I picked up a couple of new blades because the blade that I had in there was not thick enough to cut through. Chewed up the cut as I was cutting through. And it only really cut halfway through the tile. Got some new blades. Hopefully now I'll be able to cut all the way through. I've had a little bit of a practice on that one. That was a broken tile anyway. Obviously driving home, the tile broke by bringing it home. So those tiles there actually were too bad in price actually. They worked out £9.08 each, which is not too bad. Hopefully I don't mess any up because I bought every one they had in stock. I bought an extra 2 just to allow myself for cuts and if I make any mistakes. But I'll put a couple on the pond just to see where they're going to lie, what they're going to look like. I'm having a cupper at the moment just to make sure I'm happy with how things are going to lay. Obviously here I want this to be dead symmetrical either side. I've got to work out how I'm going to do this bit because I don't really want the tile to finish here because I've still got to fill in this void down through here. So I want the overhang to hang all the way across here. But also where I put these posts in, it also dips back into there. So I don't know if it's possible for me to do that cut as well and get it right in there. These cuts up through here are going to have to be half tiles. That there should be a full length. That one should be a full tile. And that one should be a full tile. But then I've still got the same problem down here with the overhang that I've got this side and this side. Trying to get that cut in the overhang there. I'm gonna have to lose the overhang there but then have that overhang back over there. I think part of the reason is because I put these posts right on the outside of this pond when I built it. But you make these mistakes as you go and not really knowing really that post should have been dead center of that block and then I could have had the coping stone all the way around it, if you get me drift. But I'm going to try my best, see how I get on because I don't really know. I've never done this before. I don't really know how it's going to work. And I'm just going to see what happens, to be fair. But I've got all the gear set out. We're just going to crack on and see what happens. That's the first one cut. Didn't turn out too bad. Got it how I want it. Nice and tight. Nice little joint. Gone in around there. Bit tricky, but I managed to get it done. Hell of a mess. I am using a little bit of water as I'm cutting. Tile cutter just to take out the little bits. But I'm just using a little bit of water as I'm cutting up through, just to make life a little bit easier. Like I said, I don't really know if I'm doing it right, but I'm having a good go. But the dust certainly makes a bit of dust if you don't use no water. But then if you use water, it makes a hell of a mess all over the place. So it's a catch-22, just one of them things you have to clean up afterwards. And so we're making progress. I've got my 3 tiles to cut down here in a minute. I've gone up around here, cut around the post, gone up to here, cut around this post, just put this one on. Now I've got to get in the pond, measure up what I've got there, Ideally, it'd be nice if I got one full piece, but I think it's just over 600 in that gap, so I'll have to work that out when I get in there. But then obviously I've got another one to cut in here, and then come up through here with the half tiles that hopefully I got enough left. I should have enough left. I'm hoping I got enough left, but I can't afford to make any more mistakes. Right then, ladies and gents, so I've got my grinder out, I've got my new blade on. All I've been doing is making a hell of a mess here. I'm just using a little bit of water on my tile, get the grinder out and rip these tiles up through the middle to go along the back bit of my pond now. Ain't as easy as what it looks, but my boy's going to video it and we'll see what happens. He's going to zoom right in a second as well. So that's me 2 half cuts that I need. Certainly ain't easy cutting stone, but you've got to make do. You can see I've got my shades on, bit of eye protection, see? Not the right protection, but I'm sure it'll be alright. So that one will fit in there, like that. Lovely jibbly. This one should fit over a bit further. What I'm doing as well, the rough effect, which I want to see, I'm putting on the outside of the pond, and the bit I've just cut, I'm buttoning up tight against my wood. I can see that one needs to be cut again, cut that one down. But I think what I've got to do is get in the pond and work out exactly where that one finishes to see which bit I need to get rid of. But it makes a hell of a mess. Hell of a mess, this stuff. Tell you what, cup of tea time again. So I'll spin the camera around and show you what I've been up to. I've just had the pressure washer out, give everything a bit of a clean down, but I've got all my tiles cut. I've got my welly boots off. I just cleaned out my tile cutter. I put all my other tools up there. I got my sand. I put my first lot of sand in the barrel. But what I did, I got the pressure washer out real quickly, give everything a bit of a clean down, got rid of all of that dust, because it makes hell of a mess. Absolutely hell of a mess. I did use a bit of water as well, but it carried on making mess. But what I've got at the moment is, so I've got all of my tiles, every single one cut, all in place, ready to go. I'm just going to mix up some muck now, get them laid. I'm more than happy with how it all looks. Like I said, I've got the washer out just to clean them all down, give everything a wash off. Yeah, it's all looking the absolute hammer, to be fair. Get all of these cemented in and we'll take it from there, see how we get on. But yeah, more than happy with that. Everyone's cut. Be nice if I could just say that it's finished now, wouldn't it? But it's not. I've got another job of laying them all now. But I wanted to make sure all of my cuts was all right before I started doing any of the laying. So I've never used it before, but this is what I'll be using to add into my cement. Hopefully it'll make it go black, which will fill in the black joints down through there. I'm hoping it works. I don't know if it will, but I'm going to give it a go and see what happens. So here we go again. Don't know if the old subscribers remember, but I sold me cement mixer just to get my money back on it. So I'm resorting back to the good old-fashioned hand mixing. I've mixed up so much cement here in the past couple of months. I ain't getting too bad of it, to be fair. But it is a bit of a job. I don't really know how much to mix up to do this, so I'm just doing like a little bit of a mix. I'm going to add a bit of bed mix to it to make sure I'm right. I'm not sure how much of a bed of cement that I'm going to put on. I'm just going to go with like 10mm bed or something like that. I'm not really sure, to be fair, but I'm taking a chance and see what happens. It's not what you know, it's not who you know, it's about having a go yourself. Tell you what, I definitely recommend this stuff. You need hardly any of that to make this here go lovely and black. And the reason why I want it black, so if I get any overspill basically underneath the pond from this side, it ain't going to show up nowhere near as much as what it will be if I didn't use black at all, and then I'd have a horrible concrete line along the bottom there. Now, hopefully, with it being black, should be that little bit better. That's the plan. That's what I'm hoping for anyway. I've never seen anyone do it before, so I'm giving it a go and seeing what happens. But I'm going to start off. What I'm going to do, I'm going to lay this one, and this one. I'm going to leave these free until the water's completely full up, and then I can check for any leaks. Because if I put them in now, I ain't going to be able to see if it's where it's leaking from. Hopefully, it's not going to leak. But if I leave them off, happy days. That being said, let's start here, run up through here, then I'll go all the way around. Let's just crack on and see what happens. I'm making my way around. I thought I'd grab the bike because I'm just ploughing on to get it done. See how it goes. Like I said, I ain't a professional, but I'm having a good old go. So I'm just laying a thin bed down, about 15 mil thick, I expect. Bit awkward laying like this at the moment, but I'm trying to stay back from the edge because when I knock it down, I don't want it all spilling in. So I'm running a bit low on mix before I have to make up some more. So I'll do this bit, and then my plan is to go and have some tea. But you know what it's like, you get stuck right in, you need a little bit more. Hopefully that's enough. Offer these up into place. Sit that on there for a second. Get me 2 little bits. I'm going to go there. That one on there. Give them a little wiggle. Make sure he's well bedded in. Get the old spirits of levels out. What do I do with these? Everything's going maze here at the moment. See, he needs to go down a bit. Squaring up that way. Lovely. Again, little one's bang on, he's bang on, needs a little bit of persuasion. Lovely. Just clean up the face, get that back in there. What I'm going to have to do as well, after this sets, any of the little gaps I got down in the joints, I'm going to come back and do that later on. Do like that. And then all I'm doing, just while it's wet, because I know this mortar makes a hell of a mess if you leave it on your fiberglass, you just run that straight off, and a clean cloth the opposite side. Lovely. Level 1 done. Now it's time to have some dinner. Like I said at the start of this video, I've never done it before. I'm not professional, don't really know what I'm doing, but I have a good old crack at it, and I'm super happy of what I've got done here today. All of me cuts, all of me joints, everything lines up, everything's level. It took me time to get it right, but I'm super happy with it. So this one here down on the bottom, I haven't actually put that in as such. That's just dry fit, because when I fill the pond, I want to make sure that I've got no leaks. And I think it's the best way of doing it, by not fitting that yet. I can pull that out, check that I've got any leaks, and then I can fit that afterwards. But they're all cut, ready to go. They can stay there until I'm done. But I'm super happy with how level everything is and how everything joins up. I've got a few things to do, a few things to sort out. Just move that over there. But basically, with the mortar that's down through the middle here between this joint, I'm thinking underneath here, I've got to put some silicone, and then I can fill in with mortar, save the actual mortar falling straight out and going directly. I mean, it's that much of an overlap from there, but I think if I put some silicone in there, bit of CT1 or something like that, and then I can just fill in that gap. I know I was speaking on my live chat tonight on our members page, and I got recommended by Gary on Pond and Gardens that he reckons use CT1. There's someone else on our members group, Big Al, he said for us to use some gaffer tape and then just chuck your mortar in. But I'll do that tomorrow when it all sets, and then it means I can get back in the pond and sort everything out. But that being said, Mrs. Whisperer has just bought me out a lovely cup of coffee, and boosh, check that out. I am the boss. You're the boss really, ain't you, sweetheart?
It's my cup.
Did you hear that? That's her cup. So yeah, on that note, look, I'm gonna finish up here because I'm super happy with how things had turned out, and I'll catch you back in the morning when I got everything sorted. And on that note, we'll see you in the morning. See these magic fingers? It's dark now, but watch this. Boom, there we got daylight. So there's the pond, looking the absolute hammer. Like I said, I still got to go around and do all of my joints this morning. But before I do that, I think what I'm going to do, because it's a nice sunny day, as you can see, I'm going to grab out everything in the filter house, get everything glued up, ready to rock and roll. But I've got to pick up the dog depositories first thing in the morning. Tidy up this, get things sorted, get everything out of the filter house. Yeah, I've got loads to get done in the filter house this morning, which leads me on to think there's so much work that needs to be done in that filter house at the moment. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to end the video here and put that into another video and start all over again. So if you enjoyed what you saw me making this video, then come back again, subscribe to the channel, make sure you got your notification bell turned on so you get notified every time I upload a new video. That being said, hope you have a banging week everyone, and I'll see you on the next one. Thank you mother for the rabbits.